Good evening, Hushi readers. Tonight's book review is going to be NorthTown Eclipse by author Robert White. Now, this is a crime fiction book. It's considered hard-boiled, for those of you that are familiar with that term. Author Robert White requested a review of this book, and he promptly mailed me a hard copy, but after starting the book, I went ahead and bought the ebook for the ease of reading, because I am getting older. As you can see, I wear glasses, so I may end up doing a giveaway for that book. But we're starting with this one because it's the latest book review on my website. The story was well written and it was edited pretty good. There were very few errors. Now, there's a lot of profanity, adult situation, treachery, there's violence, cheating, murder, and there's suicide in this crime novel leading up to the eclipse. And that's just the tip of the story. If any of these are triggers, please read at your own discretion. Now, when I do my book reviews, I try not to give away like the plot or anything like that, or tell you what the book is and make you feel like you don't want to read it. What I do is talk about the characters a lot, so let's get right into it. Author Robert White gives us a slightly broken and severely cosmetically flawed private investigator, and honey, there are no book boyfriends here, my lovelies. His fiery demons nip at him constantly, but nonetheless, he's a man with a sharp mind and fierce determination to get to the truth whilst trying to save his brother. Before we go any further, I want to point out that this style of writing, like I said before, is called hard-boiled. It's a tough, unsentimental style of American crime writing that brings a tone of earthly realism or naturalism to the field of detective fiction. It uses vivid and sometimes sordid details of violence, sex, and dialogue while using urban backdrops, small towns, and undesirable locations to base the stories on or in. Now, it can also be called noir or dark crime fiction. Happily ever afters are not to be expected, just kind of like a finality to the ending. So let's meet the NorthTown characters. We have the main character, Ramo Ray Jarvie. He's the main character. He's a private detective or investigator, and he is horribly scarred inside and out, and you will have to read the book to find out how and why. Ricky Jarvie is Ramo's brother. He's one of those former high school football elite. He's an addict, and he may be even a little something more. Ricky, 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 what have you done? Then there's Leotis Penniman. He's a client of Ramo's with a philandering wife. He kind of reminds you of the guy in the Bible whose wife keeps cheating on him and he keeps taking her back. Yeah, that's this guy. Bart Massey, he's Ramo's free meal deputy sheriff connection in the police department. He's kind of like hot and cold with Ramo. Then there's Brian Toomey, the former high school bully. He's a douchebag. He's a golden boy with cash, flash, success, and a bevy of women. He has a secret that he doesn't want found out. And as the story progresses, you may find that other adjectives come to mind for Mr. Toomey. And Dino Caddio. He's Brian's basic bootlicker and lackey, and Ramo's high school tormentor. Every golden boy needs one. Oh yeah, and might I say, unfortunately, he's also Irene's husband. Then there's Julie Demarest. She's the hometown hottie with a rep, that girl that marries and stays local, whose life is kind of a mess. But through all of that, she somehow found time to become a med-surg nurse. Right. And then there's Irene Caddio, who's Dino's wife. And she has a few scandalous secrets of her own. Now, there are a few other characters, but these are the ones that you basically need to keep your eye on. Here are my 2 cents on NorthTown Eclipse. Technically speaking, it's a really well-written story. The storyline, characters, the plot, they're all solid and they're well-defined. And NorthTown Eclipse feels genuine, like it truly could have happened, not at all like a contrived fictional mystery. If you're a fan of crime fiction set in a small town that's way more tumultuous and grittier than cozy mysteries, then this kind of writing, this book, this story is going to be perfect for you. Arthur Robert White gives us a villain with a seemingly golden boy trifecta complex. He's got the good looks, he's got money, he's got friends in high places and low places, and a seemingly strong and unhealthy attachment to Ramo's brother. A brother who needs saving in more ways than one, and a damaged underdog hero in the form of Ramo, our feisty private investigator. Now, from the beginning of the story, with extensive descriptive narrative surrounding the air conditioner to describe how hot the Midwestern summer is, to the unnecessary usage of the hated N-word. Yes, I did say N-word. I don't like reading books with that usage, but some authors feel that they need to use it. Usually I will not review books with that type of language in it, but I went ahead and kind of struggled through it. Anyways, again, a couple of pages of extensive description talking about the air conditioner, how hot the summer was, and the mundane scene outside of the main character's office window, to the crazy drunk or druggie who stares at him through that said window with messages of impending doom. Now, the author manages to craft a smart and tangible crime fiction story leading up to the eclipse while painstakingly and thoroughly painting the drudgery of small-town American living. A place where people are often mistook as undereducated, dreams are stagnated, and high-stake crimes are easily hidden or overlooked. A town where the locals are willing to look the other way in the wake of past moments of high school glory. The cool kids, the rich ones, who even after years of nothingness ride the tailcoats of adolescent fame and are swept in by their perceived notion of what success, power, and popularity look like. Welcome to NorthTown. The author purposely drags you along at a slow pace, letting the story seep into your bones. The small town degradation, hopelessness, and feeling of insignificance of Ramo permeate the story in a gritty, grimy way that's almost palpable. But our fearless and determined Ray, as his frenemies call him, just keeps going, like the Energizer Bunny or something, and going and going. It doesn't help that he slept with a dead woman. Wait, what? Oh, got your attention now? And a horrific past trauma he endured continues to be an emotional and at times a physical stumbling block as he doggedly pursues the truth. There is a fair amount of action, and the main character's life was actively being threatened, and not in just words. This is a complex conspiracy theory type of mystery, not so much in the way of a whodunit, because the author lets on pretty early in the story who it is. The hard part is that little thing called the burden of proof. Did a crime really happen at all? Unraveling the why and how of his suspicions puts the PI's life in severe mortal danger several times. He doesn't have the support of the local authorities, even though he's friends with the guy from the sheriff's office. And that makes solving the crime and the ones to come a difficult task. But he doesn't quit. Ray just keeps going and going and going. By the end of the book, there's a mountain of casualties, and the villain, well, you'll just have to read it to see what happens. I felt it meandered, though, through long-winded definitions intricately woven into the backstory in an attempt to educate the reader, set the scene, and build a connection to the character, which I understand is needed in a cleverly written mystery. But if I'm to be honest, at times I felt like I was wading through a sledge of deliberately ambiguous words as I read this book. Now, I don't say that to say that the book was bad, but I just had a hard time getting into it, and it was not a page-turner for me. I will say this, to the author, I thought the ending was a little anticlimactic. I mean, Ramo and Ricky used that weird guy way of communicating without saying much. I expected a little bit more high drama when Ramo finally found his brother, but I get the ending. I see you, author Robert White. I see you. So, with that said, I'm going to give this book 4.5 spyglasses, strictly because it was a well-written story and worth reading. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. My favorite line in the book, "Hello, handsome," the man said, because it's so effed up, when you read it, you will definitely understand. And that is the end of my book review for NorthTown Eclipse by Robert White. One brother chasing the truth, the other running from it. I hope you enjoyed this first book review. And if you liked it, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. I've got quite a few more book reviews that I'd like to share with you. Have a great day and happy reading.